All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. Paul McClain here, and it's an honor and privilege to come to you every single week. And I really do hope that this serves you and serves you well. My intention every week is just to do my best to provide value to you, like so many people have provided value to me in the past 14 years. And so today, I believe what we're going to talk about is one of the most important, if not the most important things we can discuss if you want to go out and become a top producer within Family First Life. This is the very thing that the best of the best, they've got this better than all the rest. This is the secret sauce, so to speak. And the good news is every one of you has the ability to develop this. Every one of you has the ability to go out there and work from this foundation to build your business. And what we're going to talk about is really a lot of the psychology behind like the client and agent relationship, because that's so important. And I believe that when I see agents go out there and they start to produce at a high level, yes, it could be things that are mechanical, practical. Yes, a lot of times it's, hey, they got more leads, right? If you're like, man, that person just started killing it. Well, if they doubled their lead flow, hello, like that's probably a big reason why. Or they started to become more disciplined with their schedule. They started to do some of those things. They were plugged in more to the call. So they were just getting fueled up and filled with belief and understanding and be able to tweak and adjust from what they're doing to get better. Yes, all that stuff is essential, but I promise you, when you go out there and it's like, no matter who you talk to on the phone, it's like you just feel like you're going to book an appointment. No matter who you sit with, it doesn't matter if it was a lead, how you came into contact with them, whoever you have a conversation with, you just believe like, I'm going to protect them. I'm going to help them. And you go from like a 50% close ratio to 90%. This is the stuff right here. It's the posture. It's that doctor-patient analogy. And so I'm really going to unpack this. I know I've spoken a lot about it, and you guys have heard it, I'm sure, before, like be the doctor, not the patient. And it wasn't until like a couple weeks ago, I had a couple people that I'd spoken to. One of them, Joe Miller, he's like, dude, I used to hear that being said all the time, and I didn't understand what the heck it meant. It just sounded good. He's like, but when I figured out what it meant, like I started to get this thing. And then when I started to see clients, I was helping more. And it became more enjoyable, right? Because it's enjoyable when you go out and you do understand without a doubt that what you're providing supersedes what you're receiving. That's serving, right? That's going the extra mile. That's when I can give you more than what I'm getting. That feels good, right? It's more blessed to give than to receive. When we go sit with clients, sometimes if our focus is our receiving of a commission, it doesn't feel very good. And the other thing is we don't help many clients because they can feel that. But when you know that you've gone above and beyond and the way you held yourself, because I can sit with the client and Rochelle can sit with the client, and we can go through the same stuff, and at the end of the in-home, that client can feel two different ways. Rochelle might have made that client feel like, wow, she just went above and beyond. She cared about me. Wow, I feel like she gave me so much value. And they could feel like just full of that. They could be convinced of that. And then I could sit with them and they could leave and be like, yeah, he was a good guy, and you know, we got the plan, and it was helpful. Or we didn't get the plan. They feel two different ways based, and it's the same client, the same service, the same policy, but why do they feel differently? Well, it's because of how we feel about ourselves and our understanding of who we are and our position. And if we are convinced, first off, so for point one is you have to know who you are when you call leads and when you sit with families. You first have to know your position, and then once you do that, then we'll go to the second part, which is show your position, and then the third part, which is grow your position. But a lot of agents, as they get started, they have to go through a name change. They're calling themselves, without maybe even vocalizing it, but in their mind, they're calling themselves, I'm a salesperson, right? I'm a salesperson. Now be clear, I'm not trying to give like a false representation of who you are. In essence, we are sales agents, right? But the reality is, when you sit with clients, if you can see yourself as a doctor, so to speak, and the reason I say that, because think about this. When you go sit with a doctor, have you ever left, and typically this is not the case, but where you think like, man, what a sales guy. He was just trying to close me on the fact that I had strep throat. Well, I was trying trying to close me down. I ain't got that. You know? You don't think that. I remember going to the doctor's office being a kid, and my mom, we'd be waiting in the waiting room, right? And my mom was like a soap opera gangster. Like, she didn't miss none of them. You know, this is before you could record them, so she wasn't about to miss them because she ain't gonna see them. You know, I grew up like all my children and One Life to Live was like always in the background, you know? That's why I had to go ride bikes. I was like, I gotta get out of here, you know? She's like, you ran away again, boys? I didn't run away. I ran away from your soap opera. I was out there in the backyard doing something. But, you know, she would be sitting in the waiting room like, hey, this is just, I can't believe, who does he think he is keeping us in this waiting room? Like, we got stuff to do, you know? And then by the time, she'd call us, you know, the nurse would call us back, and like, all of a sudden they would change. She'd be like, all right, if he asks you how you doing, you cough twice. All right, and if he doesn't look like if he looks like he's not convinced, you cough 3 times, you cough loud. Like, it was like she was about to get that antibiotic. You know, she's missing all my children, and she's paying $20. She's about to get the antibiotic to fix me. You know what I mean? I was up coughing all night, keeping her awake. And that was like, and when he walked in, she wasn't like, who do you think you are? She was like, oh, yeah, how are you doing? You know, Paul's not feeling very well. You know, and she was just like so subservient to him. It didn't matter what he did. Why? Because the value that he was providing far superseded the cost of waiting in the waiting room and everything else. Like, the value was so great. And the thing is this, when he comes into the doctor's office, right? If my mom did act like that, because I'm not confused, there's probably some patients that do act kind of out of sorts, right? That are kind of crazy. Like, let me listen to you breathe. You ain't touching me. You know, I mean, like, it probably happens. But guess what? He don't care. He's like, with all due respect, if I can't do that, I'm good. Could you just leave? Because guess why? Because he's got a whole waiting room. He's got a whole CRM full of people to call. That's how we got to get our mind right. Are you going to get a client that's like, acts like a fool on the phone or acts like a fool in the home, that doesn't treat you in the way you should be treated, that doesn't see you the way that you should be seen, the way you should see yourself? Of course. But you don't drop the narrative of who you are. You don't start behaving in a client based off the way they treated you. You hold ground and you teach the next client how to treat you. You don't care. You slide on over. I got another family to call. The doctor wouldn't care. It's all good. I'm an hour behind. You see the waiting room? I don't know if you've been to doctors lately, like, it's packed. Yeah. He's probably happy. I was happy when a client didn't show up because I gotta go get something to eat because I would pack my schedule like a busy doc. Now you gotta treat yourself in such a way that shows yourself that you're a high-end, top-level doctor, so to speak. Does that make sense? Your value is great. You wake up early. You do these things. You pack your schedule full, right? But that's how you got to hold yourself. See, you have way more value to offer. The first thing is understanding that. I believe that what we service clients with, like our service, right? What we're selling, there's nothing that is as valuable. Nothing. Because when a client dies, not if, but when they die, they're going to go through the hardest thing they're ever going to go through, the loss of a loved one. Nothing else that they've gone through compares to that. You thought you went through some hard times, lose a spouse. Just everything about your life has been connected and is involving that person. Every part of the day is another reminder that they're no longer there. And then what's the second hardest thing to go through? Financial hardship. Financial hardship. I don't know how to pay my bills. I don't know how to provide for my family. I do not know what I'm going to do. We provide a solution when both of those run head to head together at the same time. So if we know that's the value, right? We understand that's the value. Why does sometimes you go out there and you act like the doctor that's like, if you wouldn't mind, if it'd be okay, if it's all right with you, you almost act like the doctor that's walking down the street, right? Doesn't even have an office, nothing. He's like, hey, you get a physical lately? Come over here. Cough real quick. and I'll get you the rest of the service over here. That's how you act. And guess what? That would be freaky. You'd probably get punched in the face. That would be weird. So you'd probably come across like, if you wouldn't mind, I know it's kind of weird, but if I could, that would make sense. Why? Because they didn't ask for that. And maybe you do need a physical. But somebody come up to you on the side of the road acting like they're the doctor and trying to check you out real quick, ain't gonna go well with you. That's how most insurance agents are with no leads. If you wouldn't mind, do you have any coverage? If it'd be okay, if I could come out, just go through with you real quick. That's how they act, and that's how they need to act. And what are you gonna do? Like they don't have, there's no interest. But the doctor can posture themselves with confidence, knowing that you need them, they don't need you, because you called them, you're in their waiting room, they're waiting to be seen. And they've got plenty of people to see, because guess what? There's no shortage of sick people. And guess what? There's no shortage of people that are gonna die and that need life insurance. So there's no scarcity mindset. The mindset is that of abundance. Like, I'm so blessed that I get to provide the best service in the world to people, and there'll never be a lack of this service necessary. That's pretty good feeling. Ain't nothing gonna change. Technology can change a lot of things. Technology ain't gonna change the fact that you ain't gonna die one day. Does that make sense? So we have to know this. If we know this, then it'll set us up to be that much better. That's what I mean by you're the doctor and they're the patient. And you gotta hold yourself like that in all areas. So now if you know it, right, and you gotta go through that name change. You're not a salesperson, you're this, right? You're a person that goes out there and serves people. You're the doctor, you're the person that has great value. You have to see it first. Like Simon went to Peter. Why? Because Simon's name and who he thought he was not gonna cut it for what was to come. He had to change it. Went from Simon to Peter, the rock, something that could be built from, that the whole gospel was going to go out. He was the rock. His name changed. Abram to Abraham. That's the way it worked. That's the way it still works to today. What are you calling yourself? Because you can't see yourself and you won't treat yourself above the label you give yourself. So what is that to you? And if you want to be great, what are you calling yourself? How do you see yourself? Because that's essential. Now, once you say it, don't disqualify it by your behavior. Now, what do you have to do once you say you're that? You got to go out and do something. You're Peter. And that doesn't mean he goes out and like hangs out at brothels and stuff. Like you got to get your walk right, dude. Like does that make sense? You stop like lying and denying, like let's go. Does that make sense? It's funny how like we had a meeting a couple weeks back, and Trey had to cut out early. It was me and a couple other agents, and he sent me this picture, and he was in it. I was like, dude, you weren't there. Like, you were not there. He's like, I know, I photoshopped myself in there. I was like, dude, that's good. Like, it looked like he was in the photo. But sometimes we got to Photoshop ourselves in to a new scene that we want to be in. He was bummed out. He's like, man, I missed a photo. Put himself in there. That makes sense? You got to put yourself up in there. The other thing is this. You want to memorize, like, see the scripts in the workbooks and those things, guys. Like, that helps you reinforce who you are. Reinforces your position. When you read the scripts and you read stuff that says like, you know, listen, we're running behind, but what I can do as a courtesy for you is put down some notes to see how I could best fit you in, right? When they say this week doesn't work. That script, when you say it, it's reinforcing who you are, because it's not, well, no big deal, Mary. I get you in next week or the week after or next month holidays are crazy. And New Year's, you probably got a New Year's party. So if we could do January 15th to February 15th, I think I could get, but that's how we act sometimes, right? We act like that. And then we're wondering, like, why are we not getting treated in such a way that shows the value that we have to offer? But when you read the scripts, it reinforces that. So now when you read the scripts and it says, well, Mary, listen, I understand being busy. They've got me managing several different areas. I know how important this is to you. I'll put down some notes to see if I can best accommodate and do my best for you. What time are you typically in? Well, usually 5 o'clock. Okay, listen, I don't have of 5 o'clock, unfortunately, for the next 3 days. But what I'll do for you is this as a courtesy, because I do know it's important and I don't know when the next time I can get out there to serve you. I'm going to move my 7 to 4. If I can't move my 7, I'll let you know. I got to verify with them. But let's plan on 7 o'clock. And the only thing I'm going to ask and need, because I'm kind of getting you in as a courtesy, is a window from 6:30 to 7:30. Is that fair enough? Well, yes. Well, now the client that was trying to put it off, why were they trying to put it off? They didn't know your position. They thought you could just call them back. They didn't know the value. They didn't know the urgency. If you want people to show up to your appointments, it's got to be valuable and urgent. You say, I got a bunch of no-shows. Well, you lack value and urgency. Because if it was valuable and urgent, they show up. So when I say that, now what I've done is I've used that objection to show my position. So now on the other end of it, they're like, wow, like this is important. I'm speaking what they know it is, but they might be masking it up because they want to procrastinate or think something else might be valuable, or they want to put it off. So when you start rehearsing these scripts, guys, over and over and over again, you want to know them. I still think it's interesting when I talk to an agent, I say, hey, give me your close at the end. Like when you show them options, what do you say? And then they say like, well, do you want to start the application now? Or they say something, I'm like, where did you hear that? Like, where was that written? Because the close is, listen, Rochelle, we can't make a decision today because we don't know that it'll qualify. But if it were to qualify, which one of these options do you believe would make the most sense? Do you see make the most sense based off protection and budget? They say, well, I think that one, okay, well, I think we could try to get that one qualified. Grab your driver's license. That's the close. Now, if you have a different one that works, use that. But what I'm saying is like, why don't you know it? See, I had somebody the other day come up and he's like, man, that close is really good. The one you used, I said, that wasn't even mine. I came to a meeting and I was already closing like at a high level. I've been doing it for a long time. Andrew Taylor gets up there, he's like, I got this close. And it didn't make, if you think about it, it didn't make any sense. He's like, we can't make a decision today because we don't know if you're going to qualify. But if you were to qualify, which one do you think would make the most sense? You go, what? That doesn't even make any sense. But it works. And so, but the thing is this, he said that at a meeting. I was writing $50,000 a month at the time, every month. Most agents in the room, they were writing 15, a lot of new people. The next week I got up and I was training. I said, who knows the close? Not one person knew it. I knew it, and I changed it. And I had a good one. I was closing 80% probably. But it got better. So you got to know your script. Like, you don't need to like delay to get going to know your scripts. But for me, if I'm like, if you know this, I'll give you $250,000 right now, you would know it. Heck, if that script was you're going to get a degree, and if you knew it, you had to get in front of a class and go through that, and it had to be memorized because it's not a book. If you're an actor or actress, think about how lines they got to memorize. You see what I'm saying? You would know it. And all you get is a good grade. Like, you get a good grade. And here it's like, I'm like, dude, that's what you get paid. This is the best of the best telling you this is how I do it. And so it shouldn't take you more than like 48 hours. And I'm moving while I'm learning, but like 8 o'clock at night to, man, 4 a.m. the next morning, I'll be up a full 24 hours to get that done. And I did. Because like, this is the ticket. Like, why would I not know it? And as I read it out loud, I start to know my position. I start to leave the old identity, the old label, and say, man, God, I am a person of value. Look at how I speak. Look at my responses. Look at how I handle that. Does that make sense? So know your position. And then once you know your position, you can show your position. And you start saying little things like, I'm not a sales rep. I'm a field underwriter. I'll do my best to squeeze you between appointments. That's all showing your position and what that looks like. Now, once you've done that, the next is to grow your position. All right? And so a lot of times you'll grow your position in areas where you're like, before, I feel like I'm getting pushed up again. You ever get an objection and you feel like you're kind of getting closed in like a small spot, like place, like you like want to fight back? Like I remember when I got started, I got the quote objection every time. Like every time I call somebody. They said, Paul, can you just give me a quote? And it was going good. At the moment they said they wanted to give me a quote, I felt like I was getting pushed against the wall. And I was like, no, not again, I remember calling the guy who hired me. I'm like, dude, give me something different. And I called him like 8 times, and I still get it. He said, how are you getting it? I was like, I'm getting it because I keep thinking I'm going to get it because I keep getting it. But that's why I was getting it, because I kept thinking I was going to get it. And so what I realized is objections, when you know your position good enough, who you are, they allow you to grow your position. So that negative actually becomes a greater positive, okay? So I'll give you an example. Let me give you a couple. So let's just say the client says, so let's just say they say like, can you just give me the numbers? I don't want a presentation. Has that ever happened to you? Like, let's go. So what I say, because what that tells me is they think I'm just an insurance peddler. Like I'm an informational specialist. Like I'm just here to give you some quotes and then little Paul will be out of here. Like that's how I feel like they're treating me. I'm like, that's not who I am. That's like, that'd be like going to the doctor's office and be like, hey, listen, I just need some Xanax. He's like, well, I gotta ask you some questions. No. I don't have time for that. I've been worried ever since I got here. I'm worried right now. Give me some dang Xanax. That wouldn't work, right? It wouldn't work. And so that's how I look at it. Like he wouldn't let you treat him like that. He'd be like, if it was me, I'd start dying laughing. Like, that is hilarious. That was a good one. But so when I go in and they say that, I know it gives me opportunity to grow my position. So I'd say something like, listen, Chase, it's probably my fault for not communicating this, is my guess. But it sounds like you've had salespeople come over, whether it's selling a vacuum or whatever, and they probably gave you some presentation you weren't interested in, and it was a waste of time, and they try to pressure you into actually getting something you didn't want or need. Has that happened? Okay, well, let me just clarify, because I think what you don't want is somebody that's going to just show you numbers that don't mean anything, which is what a captive sales rep would do. I'm not that. I'm a field underwriter, meaning that what you do or don't do, I could care less. Makes no difference to me. In fact, the reality is, when I go home tonight, if I don't come home, my family's taken care of. If you don't, it affects your family, and that's what I'm here to do, is to help that. Now, I'm really good at my job because I care about people, and I'm passionate about it. But Chase, the reality is this, man. I'm not going to show you just numbers because you don't want that. That's a waste of your time. I'm going to ask you questions and figure out what plan's going to best fit you, and then show you that, because that's what you're looking for. Now, if it's not, we're premature, and I care too much about helping people to do it in any other way that doesn't best serve them, and that's how this process is. Are we on the same page? And it's my fault for not communicating that. So I was able to grow my position because he treated me a certain way. I'm going to stop and say, let me just tell you, I got to show my position. I'm going to use this to grow my position, because on the other end of it, you're going to know exactly where I'm at. Now, my best clients are clients that do stuff like that, because they want to know, like, are you going to be here to help me? Are you the real, just like me? You wanted me to go into my kids get sick or hurt? I'm not the guy the doctor likes to see if they're not good, because I will wear him out. You know what I mean? Like, I'll ask a ton of questions, like, why do you think that? What makes you think that? Why do you think that's the best option? What can you know? Can you weigh it out? What other things are we considering? What options make sense? Did we trade off? Did we do a T-chart in our head? Can we break down a T-chart? What are we doing here? And like, I'll wear him out. Now, if he's good, it'll be revealed, right? Because he'll use it to grow his position. If he ain't good, and he ain't sure of who he is, and he's kind of like, I don't know if I'm that important or I'm that good, he's not going to do very good. It ain't going to be no fun for him. Does that make sense? So you want to, a lot of times it becomes your best position. Okay, so let's give you a couple more and we'll wrap up. Do you have to give a voided check? Or do I have to give you my banking account? Has anybody ever had that? Yeah. Like, do I have to give you my banking account information? To me, it's like you're treating me like a sales rep. Like I'm the guy selling one of those fantastic booklets or whatever, where you get $2 off Chick-fil-A and stuff. That's not, so the way I handle that is I say, listen, Chase, the carriers need that to know what account that'll be sending the money to them each month for the protection for your family. Now, you have my word, 'cause it's no big deal. I know how important this is for your family, so you could rest assured that I'm going to call them every day to try to get this expedited and do my best to get it approved as fast as possible, because I know how important it is for you. So as soon as we get that approval, I'll let you know, but they do need that. Just grab that real quick while I'm filling this out. So it's just no big deal. I'm not building it up because it doesn't need to be built up. Me building it up makes me seem something other than what I am, which is I'm the professional. I provide value that's far greater than the commission I'm receiving. So I grow my position. All right, let's do another one. So if they say like right now is not good, can we reschedule? You ever knock on the door, they're like, right now is not good, can you reschedule? Now before I would say, yeah, no big deal. I'm gonna be back out here tomorrow. What time's good? And they're like, well, I don't know. We'll call you. Can we get a card? Because my response was that of, I'm not that important. I don't have that much of value, and it's not that urgent. That's what the response showed. So that response showed that I'm the client and they're the doctor. So I have the roles reversed, and that's a terrible. It don't feel good. It ain't fun. Because it isn't. It'd be like the patient going and telling the doctor what to do all the time. That doctor is going to hate life. So when they give me that opportunity to grow my position, they say, can you just reschedule? Now it's not good. I say, listen, Chase, I understand how important this is for you guys. And what I'll do as a courtesy for you is I'm going to go through it really quick and expedited, which will kind of help out because we're running really behind. I don't know the next time I'll be back out here, Chase. And the reality is this. The last thing I would ever want to have happen is something happens to you. You didn't have the protection or the information, and we try to push it off. And in reality is I don't have time to push it off because I'm managing several counties. But I'll go through with you real quick, man. It's no big deal. Do you want me to take my shoes off or leave them on? So I build up the urgency. I build up the value of how important this is, and then I go right back into me leading and directing, which is now we're getting into the house. Does that make sense? So I know my position, I show my position, I grow my position. This is the difference maker when it comes to the psychology behind it, knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's no different with Deanna when she said, when I go in and a dog comes up, I'm like, whoa, and I can't do like she did good. Maybe I should get up and illustrate. My dress. And she kind of Heisman's the dog a little bit. All she's saying is like, now, guess what a person that's just trying to make a sale does? They're always trying to be subservient, which is the worst posture. Oh, I love dogs, no big deal. And they're petting the dog, it's all over the dress. It's like, no, you don't. You're the dog. You can do whatever you want to do. You're in control. They need you. So that little thing right there, it seems small, but what it does is it's teaching them how to treat her. Dog jumping over me like I came here to help you. I got a million things going on. I got a million clients to see. Your next door neighbor needs life insurance. Does his dog jump? Because if it does, I'm gonna go see him. That's the posture. So that there, I would do it even if they didn't have a dog. Well, your dog. Like sometimes you just gotta say something to get yourself the right posture if they ain't treating you the right way. That makes sense? They start treating you differently. You start getting into it. Like, hey, real quick, can you go grab me a glass of water real quick? Mm-hmm. Why? You're indebted to me, so to speak, is how I'm looking at my mind because I'm providing a service. The rule of reciprocation is at hand. I'm doing you a massive favor being here for you. See, but most don't think about it like that. You think about it like, I need to make a sale. I need to hit my AP. I need to hit my goal. And you're wondering why you're not. Well, it's because of that. So if you get that right first, you're going to hit your AP all the time. It goes back to the old, quote that you've all heard before, what is very applicable, that if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want. But it says help enough other people, not if you're more concerned about yourself, thinking about yourself, then eventually you'll be taken care of. It's not the way it works. So it's understanding that position and what it looks like. And I guess that'd be the same thing. This week doesn't work, or can you come back next week? Or even like if you show up late to a client's house. All right, I'll say this in case you got a question wrap up. But even if you're late to a client's house, before I'd think like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna say? They're gonna be so mad. And I started realizing like, man, I waited in the waiting room all the time. And I am a doctor. And they're the patient. So I'd get out, and did I have some clients say like, do you know how late you are? Yeah, but a lot of times they didn't because of the way I held myself. But even when they did, it was better than the ones that didn't because I could grow my position and show my position. So they'd say, you know how late you are, man? You're an hour and a half late. I said, listen, I understand, Chase. And the thing is this, I knew how important this was to you. So opposing me just not showing up because we got so many clients that need this protection and not enough help, I figured I'd come out and still get this information to you. It's not a big deal, man. I'll go through it really quick. Don't worry about my schedule. I'll get it back around down the road. So anyway, shoes on or shoes off. Because I'm doing you a favor. I could have easily just not showed up. But I don't apologize. I'm not like, oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't believe it. Does the doctor do that when you walk in? I never had a doctor say, hey, I'm so sorry you've been waiting in the waiting room. He don't even know how long you've been waiting in the waiting room. The nurse doesn't go give him debriefings like with all, Dr. Bill, you're 9.5 minutes behind, just so you know, if you want to apologize when the patient comes in. Now, does a lot of services warrant an apology? Yeah, if they don't hold as much value. But you still came out. To be honest, and this is not something you want to duplicate, I don't know if I ever made it to one appointment on time. Not one. Ever. I was about the guy that was about an hour to 2 hours late behind every appointment. I showed to him at 9:30 at night, and it was my 7:30 appointment. I didn't care. He said, do you think they were sleeping? I hope they're sleeping. They're not dead. I'm going to be there. Because I know what I'm doing is so important. I didn't care. I didn't sit back and think, I wonder if they'll be mad, or I wonder if. Why would I think that? I'm not going to think that. They're going to be happy to see me because of what I'm providing, because of what I'm offering, because of what I'm bringing to the table. They're going to be happy to see me. Does that make sense? Chase, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess I kind of touched on it. I was just going to say, because it's right around that season, can we go ahead and can we move this forward to the beginning of January?
Yeah, good. Okay, I like that. So Chase's question is, and then we'll wrap up with this, if you're pushing it off, they're wanting to push it off after the holidays because they got so much going on, things taking place and what have you, right? So Chase, you say, can you get back to me? It could be on the phones, is probably where you're getting that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the phones, can you just call me back after the holidays, this and this? I said, listen, Chase, I definitely understand being busy with the holidays. I've got 15 kids, and I'm just only kidding, I got 5, but it feels like 15. But listen, man, they've got me managing many counties because in this time of the year, most families are sending a request because they do understand the importance of family, they understand that they could pass away, and they do understand that it's more likely to happen in the holidays than any other time of the year, whether that's a driving accident or health related. And so as a courtesy to you, Chase, this is what my schedule is allowing. I'm working triple the amount of time I normally work to get as many families in as possible. What I'll do, because I know it's important to you, is I can go and squeeze you in between appointments at either 3 or 7 tomorrow. What time is better? So I bring up the urgency, I talk about the importance, and then I go ahead and I assume the appointment. I don't say, so will that work for you now? Because I'm leading, every question is answered with a question that's leading to the close. And if I'm on the phone, the close is getting the appointment, okay? So that's how I'll handle that, is Chase, and I'll squeeze you between appointments as a courtesy at 4 or 7. So what I did is this. They're trying to put it off because why? They got so much going on, right? And I get it. I mean, I see it. Like, you know, my wife, and she's like running around here. Heck, I don't know how people work at their house. If you got a wife like mine, that dang doorbell rings on Saturday like 982 times. Like every 3.2 minutes, there's a package being delivered. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I understand it's crazy. But if I can let you know that this is very important, this is very urgent, and I'm busier than you, without saying, well, with Chase, all due respect, my schedule is a lot busier than yours. Like, that doesn't work, dude. But when I say I understand being busy, in fact, this time of year, and then I use that as a segue to increase value and urgency. See, a lot of times people are overcoming objection. They miss the relating part, and they miss that in the response has to be more value and more urgency, and then you go back to where you were at or closing. That's how you overcome every objection. Different words, but if you look at the way it's packaged, if you look at the fundamental parts of that, that's what it is. So, guys, I hope this helps. Make sure to like and subscribe, and guys, comment below every single week. I love watching the people that get to win the free lead money, because I know that for a lot of people, it means a lot, especially as you're getting a business going. Most people don't roll into this being like, man, I had so much money, I got bored. I thought, hey, insurance seems fun. Not the case. Like me, it wasn't like that. I don't think it was like that for you. And so I love watching lead money get sent out every single week and people winning that. Also share this. I do believe that everybody by nature wants to help people get better. They want to make an impact. They want to make a difference. They want to be a meaningful specific for other people. Sometimes just sharing some good content that might meet them where they're at and help them go out there and have that extra sale or extra 2 sales a week, that might change their business. It might give them the right platform to build something great. And so share this, like, subscribe, comment below. Guys, make it a massive week. Love you. Hope you have a happy new year. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Stay strong, be steadfast. Take care.
What's going on, guys? You know what time it is. It is time once again to give away $250 worth of leads. If you commented on last week's video, which is playing right here, you are entered for a chance to win $250 in free lead credit. So what are you gonna do right now? You're gonna comment on this video that's playing right now while I'm talking. I will give you the time. Don't worry, you're not missing anything now unless you won, but then you can always just, go back. Anyway, comment right now so you're entered to win next week as well. Leave these comments. We love reading them. We love responding to them. It's awesome. And we love the input that you guys have to provide and the feedback on how it helped you. And it's just wonderful. We love reading it. So leave a comment right now. And we're going to figure out who won this week. Let's pick them. Kelsey Level. Always keeping me motivated for the week. Thanks for the consistency on this podcast. You are very welcome for the consistency on this podcast. Kelsey, congratulations. You just won $250 worth of free leads. Go out there and make the most of them. Set those appointments, dial those phones, and get in those homes and help those families. Guys, it's that simple. Leave a comment. We pick them every week, and you can win leads to improve your business, help families, and make a difference. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.